Now, sadly, living in Kenya all your life, you cannot be familiar with how serious it is to have your credit rating downgraded. Okay? In the West, your credit rating is everything. You go anywhere to a bank, anywhere you can think of, yeah, which involves finances. And the first thing they do is look at your credit rating. Yeah, so you introduce yourself, you say you're so and so, they're not interested. They look at your credit rating, that's when they can look up at you and say, yes, how can we assist? Yeah, the credit rating is like having somebody in your bedroom, knowing all your mpango candles, knowing all your secret whatevers. Yeah, it is just very revealing. And when it's downgraded, it is so serious, it's like somebody has died. And indeed, somebody has died, and that person is you, because when your credit rating is downgraded, hey, living becomes a nightmare. Or you can't operate. Oh, it becomes so difficult. Now, with that in mind, something very major has happened in Kenya. Okay, the country called Kenya has had its credit rating downgraded from B1 to B2. And this is by one of the leading credit rating organizations in the world, Moody. Yeah. But let's not get technical. Let's just simplify this. Yeah. Take Kenya as an individual. Okay. What is going to happen now is that it's going to be much more expensive for Kenya to borrow money. Okay. What do I mean by that? It means that if you're paying 10% interest, you'll now need to pay 11 or 12% interest on the loans you take. So that means a greater burden on the taxpayer. Now, the truth and the whole naked truth is that if Kenya was an individual, yeah, we would say that this person called Kenya is heading towards insolvency. Yeah, yani yeye na bankruptcy is not very far. Yeah, and indeed all the signs are there. Did you know, for example, this is very disheartening, that almost half of what is collected in taxes goes to service our current loans? Yeah, 45% is almost half. 45% of all tax revenue in Kenya currently, yeah, goes to paying off debts. So if you are an individual, you're earning 100,000 shillings a month, 45k pop immediately goes to paying your debts. Yeah, even before you touch your salary, 45% imeenda. Now that's a crazy situation. Now anybody would tell you that that is an individual, if Kenya was an individual, would tell you that that is an individual who's mismanaging their finances. There's no other way of putting it. That's very clear. Now, there are many reasons why we're in this kind of trouble as a country, yeah? But let me just focus on one, actually the major one, yeah? It is our appetite for huge infrastructural projects, okay? Now, don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with having huge infrastructure projects because you elect a government to bring you development. However, here Kenya is different. And here is how it's different. Now, the central bank recently advised the government that they should look for alternative ways of financing large infrastructure projects. Yeah, the SGR, roads, etc., yeah, things which need a lot of money. Okay. Now, what do they mean by alternative sources of financing? Alternative sources of financing means that instead of taking a huge cash loan, yeah, you can finance it, for example, through a levy of some sort. Yeah, you can get a levy on, we already know there are levies on things like petroleum. You can place a levy on something, yeah, and be able to raise the money. There are many creative ways of doing it. For instance, in Kenya, there was a time we had road levies. Yeah, a certain road is built, and then all cars passing that road, you pay something small every time you pass there. Anyway, the government has avoided these other alternative ways, and they're focused on major loans. Unapata where you get all the money lump sum cash, you know, like Eurobond. You float a bond, people, you know, you get a lot of money in your bank account all at once, cash. Okay? And then when you look at the costing of these infrastructural projects, they are hugely inflated by all standards. Yeah, you hear experts complaining, oh, this is costing too much, blah, blah, blah. The government gives excuses, but those excuses don't wash. Okay? The long and short of all this is that all these projects are being set up for corruption's sake, for the sake of lining up some people's pockets with huge sums of money. You see, when you put a small levy on a road, it's very difficult to get that money inside somebody's pocket. And anyway, itatirika, yeah, it will go gradually. Even if somebody's getting the money into their pockets, it's gradual money. But it seems somebody in the Jubilee government, or people in the Jubilee government, the very powerful people who make the decisions, they want the money lump sum. Hawataki kidogo kidogo. Oh boy. And the reason why this should concern all of us is that some of these loans being taken now, and where we have reached as far as our loan burden is concerned, it looks like our grandchildren and their grandchildren and their grandchildren will be paying for these debts. Yeah? And a lot of these debts have gone into projects that we really don't see the immediate benefit. A cost-benefit analysis, yeah? What did it cost? What has it benefited us? You can't really see, yeah? For instance, the SGR, there was another railway line there before. So what was it built for? To transport people? Yeah, of course, there are benefits. It means that people can go to and fro. But when you compare to the cost, it makes very little sense. There are other priorities. There are other better projects which should have been undertaken for the greater benefit of the Kenyan people. Yeah? But of course, when you look at it from the viewpoint of corruption and ways and means of fleecing the coffers, national coffers, they all make a lot of sense. Until next time, this is Chris Kumekucha.